Hello and welcome to this week's Property News Update. My special guest Gavin Croft will join me in just a moment as we talk about the stories that we've picked up on. Here we go. This is what we're going to have a look at. Entertaining open homes. A really interesting story here about what you might find at an open home if you're going to one this weekend. Now, this is a unique property, and Gavin and I will talk about just how often agents talk about unique properties, but I've got to tell you, this one really is unique. Who would have thought that mining towns are leading the charge on renewed prices in Australia? Buyers get really keen, and this one is a rental property that's on steroids. Those and more, back in just a moment.
Did you know you can save up to 70% on your staff costs by outsourcing the low-value, repeatable tasks so your team can focus on growing your business? Beepo is an outsourcing provider focused on the real estate industry. With an English-speaking, tertiary qualified and fully trained team in the Philippines, Beepo will give your business the boost it needs to start growing and returning value to you. For more information, visit beepo.com.au.
Welcome back to the show. My special guest is Gavin Croft, who's joined us on a couple of shows, particularly talking about digital technology. Gavin is a very skilled auctioneer. He joins us. G'day, Gavin. How you doing?
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Good. We've got you just on a return trip from New Zealand where you've been calling some auctions. A really good market over there for auctions?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's been, whilst very similar to the Sydney market, it's had a time to take a breath. But we're starting to see a little bit of renewed energy again, tight stock levels certainly over there, similar to the Sydney market. So we're just starting to see a turn in that now.
Excellent. All right, well, let's go to our first story. This one comes to us from Riz Media. This is a story about an American agent who's got a really entertaining twist on open homes. Open homes, of course, are a very popular way to sell a property. But what do you do when someone turns up? How do you entertain them? Just watch this video for a moment.
The very thought of you and I forget to do the little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. I'm living in a kind of daydream. I'm happy as a king and foolish though it may seem to me. That's everything, the mere idea of you, the longing here for you. You never know how slow the moments go till I'm near to you. I see your face in every flower, your eyes and stars above. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you, my love.
Gavin, a really interesting twist, I guess, on open homes. In Australia, we've seen open homes, not so much with entertainment, but agents handing out lollipops and, I guess in a way, serving coffee and trying to entertain. But that's a really unique way of featuring an open home, I guess. They call it the concert series.
Yeah, that was one of the more interesting ones that I've certainly seen. I think over in the States, they certainly use a little bit more creativity, a little bit more imagination than what we do. But I think potentially what it is all about, of course, my phone goes off right on cue, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's one of your agents calling to say, hey, what are you talking about? We do it well here.
So, for me, the creativity is obviously important. Yep. But I think what we're trying to do here as agents is it's all about the buyer experience. And the better the experience that we can deliver in that short time frame, we want to be remembered. We obviously want to be remembered for the right reasons. But I think, for instance, in that particular situation that we've just watched, you certainly stand out, and I think you'd be remembered.
Yeah, they're very classy too. And if you check on that website that we'll give you a link to, you can see a lot more of those. And they're different artists that they feature. So it's good promotion for the artists, but it's also great promotion for the agent. So that's the way they're marketing their properties. We're going to go to our next. Yes, sorry, mate.
A lot of Sydney agents have used some beautiful art pieces and turned homes into an art exhibition. during open home viewings. It's been successful. Certainly not as elaborate, but we're certainly starting to get a little bit more creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to our second story in just a moment. Before we do, I just want to remind you that Real Estate Talk is out tomorrow. Watch for that. You'll get it on realestatetalk.com.au. Some of the stories we're going to cover tomorrow, uncovering the hidden cash in a renovation. And we're not talking about behind the walls here. Off-market opportunities. Get inspired with sustainable houses. This weekend is Sustainable House Day on Sunday. All about an eye for renovation. And we're also going to tell you about where to stand at an auction. So all that and more tomorrow in Real Estate Talk. Let's take you to story number 2 now. This one comes from House Beautiful. This is a unique property. Toop and Toop taking this one to auction in Adelaide. Gavin, have you ever struck a house like this, Bluestone? Beautiful home, but it's got a real history to it and a few ghosts, I would think.
Look, it's, I'm not sure how comfortable I'd say. We just talked about the buyer experience at an open home. Yeah. That probably takes it to a new level. So I'm not sure how the kids are going to, particularly, they're either going to be entertained or absolutely scared out of their wits. So something's going to unfold there one way or the other, but they certainly got people's attention once they walk through the door.
Yeah, it's a 5-bedroom home and even features its own chapel, as it says. Yeah, but it's not. That's not the coolest part. The coolest part is I think one of the rooms, from what I can gather from the article, you walk inside and there's a whole lot of what look like ghosts there, so it could be pretty scary, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This home has had a lot of press, actually, because I read, I think it was in a UK paper or American paper, where they called it a haunted home. I don't know whether they're not promoting it that way, I don't think, but it certainly has an element of being haunted in there somewhere.
Yeah. Again, it seems when you look through the imagery that they've provided, certainly has that feel. And it's interesting how overseas they pick up on these. I've seen this a few times where that haunted element seems to attract some interest and some energy from the media around it.
It does indeed. Our next story, story number 3, comes from the Business Times. Who'd have thought, Gavin, that home prices are being driven upwards by the mining towns? I think it was only about 3 or 4 years ago we were talking about, mining towns and the disasters of, if you buy there, prices are going to crash. But here's a story that swung it all around.
There's an old cliche: what goes up really quick often comes down really quick.
Yeah.
And I think you just buyer beware in these situations. These are an opportunity to make what we all look for is the quick dollar. Yeah. But gee, I tell you what, you need to be wary. 2 weeks ago, I sat beside someone who bought in a Queensland mining town, and let me tell you, it wasn't pretty how it ended up. So you've got to ride a wave, but you've got to get off the wave in the right at the right moment. That's for sure.
I think one of the worst disasters we saw was in Moranbah, where prices were up around about $1 million, and then they just took a massive nosedive to around 200,000 to 300,000. It was interesting to note that in the last 12 months, Moranbah was reported as being the most improved property market in Australia. That's only because it came off such a low base.
Correct. Yeah. And funny enough, that's where the person was. So to your point, they had bought at the peak, and they'd gone from a property, I think, for 950 that went back to 300,000. Yeah, so there's a lot of hurt there, but they may have recovered back to about 400 or 450. There's still a lot of hurt there, obviously. But gee, that was a buoyant time there up in Moranbah,
But you could see that was always going to crash, It was always built on the fact that rents were going up because people had to have somewhere to stay, limited housing stock. But the mines were always going to come in and build their own. They just simply couldn't support it.
Correct. So there was that moment, wasn't there? There certainly was. The demand outstripped supply on an extraordinary level. I mean, some people were saying they were just putting up walls inside of houses to create bedrooms simply so they could put the people in. But like you said, that all changed when they made some moves for some more housing, and then perhaps less people came into the town when mining started to ease off.
More people are selling their homes before auction. I'll get Gavin's take on that in just a moment with a story from Domain. We'll be back after this short break.
Your business card is a vital selling tool and a constant visual reminder of who you are. what you do, and more importantly, how you can be contacted. Introducing our new Velvet business cards, featuring a luxurious premium laminate that has a velvet texture and is soft to the touch. Printed on a resilient 450 GSM card, these cards can be printed with a range of spot gloss and foiling options to give your office that prestigious look.
Welcome back to the show. As I said before the break there, Domain reporting that more and more buyers are securing property before auction. This has got a lot to do, I would think. Gavin of Croft, of course, is an auctioneer and is my guest in the show this week. Gavin, that's got a lot to do with limited stock, I guess, and buyers wanting to get in and secure a property before auction.
Yeah. If the last 3 weeks, Kevin, I've averaged across, again, and we talk about inner city Sydney just for the moment, I've averaged 10 registered bidders per auction over the last 3 weeks. Now, you take that pre-election, I was sitting between 1 and 2. So you can see the change in the dynamic, the change in the energy. Now, when people observe that, they don't want to go down that path because that only generally means one thing for the price. So if they can do everything to secure it without that competition and the emotion that's attached to auction day, they're certainly doing everything that they can to do so.
There's got to be a huge amount of stock that's going to be coming through. Kevin Brogan from CoreLogic and I do a show every week, and we've done it. It's coming out later today. That's going to be talking about auction numbers and how that they haven't grown substantially week on week, which really surprises me because we're in the spring selling season. I wonder, are you hearing anything that stock is going to start to come through as sellers realise that, hey, this is a pretty good time to have my house on the market?
Yeah. Look, the first sign, they talk about a Super Saturday every year to introduce into the spring selling season, if you like, Kevin.
Yep.
That's going to be, funny enough, for Sydney, that's AFL Grand Final Day. So that's the first buoyant major auction numbers that I've seen come through. I think I've got 30 booked on that day at the moment. So it gives you an indication that's the first. And that's right at the end of September. That's the first time that we've seen the market start to open up a little bit because it's probably been, and much to your point, some of the tightest stock levels that we've seen for some time.
Certainly with auctions anyway. And well, not only just with auctions, we're seeing tight listing numbers right around the country. Yeah,
absolutely. So, and again, what we've seen with that, I'm just going to give you a really quick example on that, Kevin. We had a property at the start of the year, 2-bedroom terrace in Surrey Hills. Couldn't get an offer at $1,300,000 on the property. Seller decided, I'm going to wait. I'm going to see if I can get that money at some stage later down the track. We auctioned it last weekend and we got $1,655,000. So it gives you an insight into the change, not only of the energy, but what's actually happening inside that inner city market, just as we speak. Not on every house, but certainly there's some categories there that are really seeing some upside.
Indeed, yeah, great intel there from Gavin. Hey, Gavin, let's go to our last story. This one comes from News Limited. Rentals on steroids. I love this story because I like to finish each show with something that, to me, seems totally unreal. I cannot imagine paying $20,000 a night to rent a property. It's got to be super spectacular, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's only for, I mean, who was Taylor Swift? I think she was the last to stay there.
She was.
I think that says it all. Unless we've got a #1 single that we're about to release, it's certainly not for everyone. But tell you what, that's something special. I had the opportunity. You can take your own open home through it. I think the Courier Mail might have done the story there and taking you through the home. And I tell you what, that is next level.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I'm going to experience that in my lifetime. Kevin, I hope you do. I'm probably not going to, but for those that can, I tell you what, take every chance you get and go and enjoy that one if you're
I don't know that I could go to sleep, you know, Gavin. To go to sleep in something that's costing me $20,000 a night is just something. I mean, why would you sleep? You can sleep anywhere. You can sleep in a car, not probably anywhere near as comfortably, but no, it's special. It really is special, and it's a once in a lifetime thing. So anyway, love to have those aspirational stories right at the end of every show.
Absolutely, but isn't it great to see? And again, we all love looking at real estate. But I tell you what, just to spend some time walking through there, I think that'd be something pretty special.
It would indeed, my friend. Hey, Gavin, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know you've got matchsticks to keep your eyes open because you've only just flown in. But, mate, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. Good calling, lots of auctions, and we'll catch you again soon.
Good on you, Kevin. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks, Gavin. And reminder, once again, Real Estate Talk is out tomorrow. Make sure you catch up with that. We've got also Auction Update with Kevin Brogan coming out a little bit later today. All of that, of course, on propertytv.io. I'm Kevin Turner. Have a great weekend. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.